So today we will be studying about manipulating data. How do we use the DML statements or data manipulation language statements, that is insert, update, delete statements, and also how they are used in a query and what are their results. But today we will be mainly focusing on the insert DML statement. In the next vlogs we will be talking more about the update and the delete DML statements. So without much delay, let's deep dive into this topic and let me explain you that how they are being used in a SQL query. So learners, please do like, share, subscribe my channel, and please do hit the bell icon to get instant updates whenever such tutorial videos are created and uploaded for you. So let's get started. Today we will be studying about the DML, which stands for Data Manipulation Language. So GU language, correct, language. Okay. So here, what do you mean by a data manipulation language? So by the nomenclature only you can understand that something which is manipulative on the data, which means the data is stored in tables, correct? So data is stored in tables and that stored data is being manipulated. Manipulated means changing the data, correct? So now what happens, there are three types of DML statements. What are they? They are insert, they are update and delete. Okay. So we will be studying about these three topics today and how they are implemented in a query and what are their results or consequences. Okay. Now, first of all, we will start with the insert statement. How do we write an insert statement? Insert. Okay, first of all, we will insert data into the departments table. So let me show you that how many data are there in the departments table. Select star from departments, execute the query. And how do you execute the query? Either by pressing Ctrl plus enter or by selecting the query and pressing this green play button. Now here we have a total of 27 records, or you can say 27 rows in the departments table. Now we insert a record in the departments table. Insert into departments. Okay. Then you give department ID, comma, department name. Sorry, what is this? I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Department name, comma. Then comes your manager ID. And then comes your location ID. Okay. Then you give values and then you give the value for department ID. Let us put 70. Then you give the value for department name as public relations. Okay. Then you give the value for department name. I think department ID it is 70, department name is public relations. Then you give the value for manager ID, it's 100. And then you give the value for location ID, say 1700, and then you execute the query. Unique constraint violated. Okay, so we cannot give 70. Actually, we already have 70 in it. Yes, we already have these public relations already amongst these 27 records. So let's make. Now, what is this error, this unique constraint error, that we will understand later when we will understand more about the constraint part. Okay, so instead of 770 I will put something as, let me see, the last department ID is 270. Let me put 271. Okay, or 280. I think that will be good. Yeah. So now I execute the query and it's showing as one row inserted. Now if we query the entire table, previously there were 27 records. Now one record has been inserted and it became 28 records, correct? So the department ID is 280. See, 280 records with department name as public relations, manager ID as 100 and location ID as 1700. This record has been inserted successfully in the departments table. Now let us understand this insert statement. Okay, see what happens. It is insert into the departments, means the departments table. These are the column names. Okay, so remember one thing, while you put the column names within the bracket in the insert into statement, the column name should match exactly the column name which is present in the table. Okay, that may be departments table, that may be any table. Now there is the values clause. Values clause means these values get inserted in these columns. Okay, so remember one thing, that as department ID is the first column, so the first column has to be the department ID. As department name is the second column, the second value has to be the department ID. Third value has to be manager ID, as the third column is manager ID and the last column is location ID. So you have to use the value which will get inserted into the location ID, which means whatever whatever column name you will be mentioning here and whatever values you should be mentioning here, that should match, correct? Now suppose department ID is of number data type, but you are giving here public relations. Instead of 280, you are giving here public relations. See, I'll show you. Suppose this is department ID, so the first value should also be department ID, because in the insert into statement, department ID is the first column. So instead of 280, I give here public relations. Let the department name be same. Now if I execute the query, it is going to give the error. What is the error? Unable to convert string value containing string to a number. Why? Because department ID has a data type as number and you are entering a string value in the number data type. That's why this error is given. So you have to keep two things in mind. Whatever column you are giving in the insert into statement, the value should correspond to that column only, because the first value will get inserted in the first column, the second value will get inserted in the second column, and so on. Similarly, the data type of this column and the type of value you are giving in the values section should also match. So this you have to take care of. Okay, so this is the insert into statement. Now let us come to, like, say here what happened. I have inserted this value in all the columns of the departments table. Now let us insert value in some columns of the departments table, not in all the columns. How do you do that? It is like insert into department. Say we are inserting data into department ID and department name. Department ID, comma, department name, values. Now we give it as 290 and say the department name as, say, information technology. Okay. Now you see what will happen. One row inserted. Now what will happen? Now see, instead of 28, one row got inserted. But in the previous record or in the previous insert into statement, as we have given value in all the columns, so value got inserted in all the columns. But here, if you notice carefully, in the insert into statement only we mentioned two column names, that is department ID and department name, which means if scenario like this comes, so what will happen? The first value will get inserted in department ID column, the second value will get inserted in department name column, but the rest of the two columns values will automatically be null, because Oracle will automatically put null in the rest of the two columns. In this case, manager ID and location ID in the departments table, correct? But if there are many more columns, so in all the columns it will put null, whose column name will not be mentioned in the insert into statement, correct? So this is another type of insert into statement. Now there is another type, insert into departments. Now see, here you don't mention the column name like this, okay? Values. Then you give say 290, it's 300. You give it as finance. Then you give say null. Now you can, now why did we put null now? That also I will make you understand. Okay. Here also one row got inserted. Now let us see. See what happened. 300 department ID with finance value, but manager ID as null, location ID as null has been inserted. Now there is a question which may come in your mind, that suppose in this insert into statement we didn't put this null value, but why in this insert into statement we put this null value? Because remember one thing, whenever in an insert statement you don't mention any column name, by default Oracle considers all the column names of the table. There may be, means whatever column are there in the table. In the departments table there are 4 columns, so by default it considers 4 columns. But you want to pass values in only department ID and department name. That is why as the first column in the departments table is department ID, that is why I have given a 300 which will get inserted in the department ID column, which got inserted. The second column in the departments table is department name, and I have given a finance which got inserted in the second column of the departments table, that is finance, in the department name column. But the third and the fourth column I passed it as null. Remember one thing, when you don't mention any kind of column names in the insert into clause of the entire insert into statement, you have to pass values in whatever, in all the columns, not whatever, in all the columns of that table. If this table would have consisted of 10 columns and you need to put, or you need to pass values in only the first 2 columns, then you have to give the value in the first 2 columns, then put null like 8 times, because total of 10 columns, 2 columns you have given the value, so rest of the 8 columns you have to put this null value. That is the reason why in the previous query I didn't put null, because I have already mentioned the column name in the insert into statement. By default Oracle inserted value in these 2 columns of the departments table, but by default it has inserted null value in rest of the columns. So the best practice is, whenever you will, or there is a scenario where you want values in 2 columns, always use the column name in the insert into statement. Not only 2 columns, when you will want to put values in some selective columns but not all columns of the table, then always give the column names, or mention the column names in the insert into statement. Okay. And when you want to put values in all the columns of the table, then this is one type I have shown you. Then in that case also you do not need to put this this column name. That is not mandatory. You have to put the values one by one in all the columns. Suppose there are 4 columns, you have to put 4 values here. Okay, just like this one. Okay, but you have to remember one thing. You have, means the structure of the table should be clear in your mind, that which column of the table is the first column, which column is the second column, which column is the third column. This you have to keep in mind. Okay, in scenarios where you do not have any idea, or you can say you forgot the structure of the table, like which column is first, comes first in the table, which columns is second, which column is the third one, which column is the fourth one, and you want to insert values in all the columns of the table, then you can put the column names in the insert into statement. Because say department ID is the first column, department name is the second column. Here you could have done like this also. Instead of department name as the second column, you could have given manager ID, then you could have given location ID, then you could have given department name. And you want to put values in all the columns, then you have to change the value section. The department ID is this one. Second is manager ID. So you remove these public relations. Okay. You put it as 310. You remove the public relation. Second is manager ID. Third is location ID. The last one is the department name. Then you put the department name as say logistics. And you insert the data. See, it will get inserted in the correct column names. See, I have given department name in the last column of the insert into statement. But see, logistics got inserted in the department name. When you write like this, what happens? These values get mapped to the column names. Okay, so Oracle, when Oracle gets department name and the value means department name in the fourth position of the insert into statement, so it inserts the value in the fourth position in that column only. Correct? So there are three scenarios. First scenario wherein you know the structure of the table, so you give the value one by one, like which is the first column, which is the second column, which is the third column, and so on. You know the structure of the table and you put the value like this. In that case, you do not need to mention these column names in the insert into statement. But wherein you want only selective column values, like you want values to be inserted not in all the columns but in selective columns, then you put the column name in the insert into statement. I mean clause, insert into clause. And wherein you do not know the order of columns in the table, that is which column comes first, which columns comes second or third, then also you can put the column name in the insert into statement. So now let us insert some special values in a table, okay, like using the sysdate function. Insert into employees, employee ID, comma, first name, comma, last name, comma, email, comma, phone number, comma, hire date, comma, job ID, comma, salary, comma, commission PCT, comma, manager ID, comma, department ID. Values. Okay. So employee ID, we give it as, say for instance 1000, comma, then the first name is say Louis, comma, the last name is Pop, comma, and then we give the email as say lpop, okay, and then we give the character, yeah, and then we give the phone number as say 515.214.4567. This is just a dummy phone number, and as all these column names like first name, last name, email, these are character data type columns or string data type columns. That is why we are enclosing the values in single quotes, comma, and then will come your hire date. So here hire date we will use sysdate, okay, and then comes is your job ID, that is AC underscore account, comma, and then comes your salary, say 6,900. Then comes your commission PCT, there is no commission, so we are passing null. And then comes your manager ID and the department ID. So say manager ID is 205 and department ID is 100. Now we insert the record. So first of all, before inserting, let us see how many records are there in the employees table. Select star from employees. Okay, so there are a total of 107 records. So let us insert this record. Unique constant, I think we already have value with 1000, but employee ID is not there. Let me see why this error is giving. Email, okay, email is giving the error. Okay, fine. So let me give another email. Okay, so we give it, but here it is giving as, okay, see here what the error is giving, value too large for column. So which means the width of the email column, the value which I am giving, say email column has been set to hold a value of 20 characters, but say here I am giving more than 20 characters. Okay, that is the reason why this error is giving that value too large for column. Now value too large for column. Okay, I think I made the mistake. This is employee ID, this is first name, this value is last name, this I gave as email. Okay, so it will be that one only, that is 515.124.4567 is correct, but I think this one is the mistake I made. slpom@gmail.com. Yeah, so one row got inserted. So I made the mistake, actually I didn't give the domain name. So now in the employees table, previously there were 107, now there is 108 records. Now if you notice very minorly, this sysdate value got inserted in the hire date column, because hire date is in which position? That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So the 6th number value got inserted in the 6th number column, that is hire date. If you notice very carefully, today is 13th July 2026. See, that value only got inserted. So what does sysdate does? Sysdate function of Oracle records the current date and time. Okay, the time means Oracle by default hides the time portion. Okay, so how to see that time portion, that we will see later. But as of now, just understand that sysdate records the current system date and time. That is, today current date is 13th July. So that is why the date which got recorded or inserted in the table is 13th July 2026. Correct? Now we will be like inserting some specific date values, but for that case we have to use the toDate function. So those toDate functions, those specific date values, we will see in the next vlog. Okay. Today we will be studying only about the insert statement, the simplification of insert statement. That is the the beginner insert statement, not more into the advanced part. We will go to the advanced part one by one. Now another thing I will make you understand is about copying rows from another table. Okay, so if you want to copy row from another table, so that we will understand. So we have a table as, let me see, start from sales reps. I have to check whether we have this table or not. No, we don't have this table. Okay, so what I will do is I have to first create the table, then only I can insert the value. Okay, so sales reps table I don't have. Let me check the table section. Here I have only jobs, relations. Okay, so I will not make you understand this create table function, because create table is something which we will see in our next vlog, not in this vlog. Create table. This is I am creating the table just for this tutorial. Sales reps will be ID, that is number. Then will come name, that is bracket 250, sorry, 50. Like this, yeah. Then will come CHCHAR, bracket 250. Then will come as salary, will be number, and then comes some commission PCT. The table got created. Okay, so now we will be inserting data from the employees table into the sales reps table. So let us see, as the table got created, there will be no value in the sales reps table. See, in the sales reps you have no value. Okay, now let us insert the data into the sales reps table. Insert into sales reps, then we give as these column names ID, name, salary and commission PCT up till this. Then we write select. Now see, the first column is ID, so we have to put the first column as employee ID. Correct? The second column is name, so let us put the last name. The third column is salary, we will put salary. The fourth column is commission PCT, and we will put the commission PCT. Now from employees, where job ID like 33 rows got inserted. Now see, in the sales reps table there are 33 rows. values. Now let me make you understand this query. This is copying data from table. Now from which table? Employees table to sales reps table. If you note very carefully, in the previous statements, we have written insert into statement giving the column names and the values in those columns, right? This is a simple insert into statement. But here we didn't give any values part. Why? Because here what is happening? This statement is inserting data, or the DML statement is inserting data into sales reps table, in which column? In ID, name, salary and commission PCT column of sales reps table, taking the values from employees tables, employee ID, last name, salary and commission PCT, whose job ID has these REP word in it. So how many record we are getting only from this query? Let us see. If we execute this query, we got 33 records, and that 33 records only got inserted in the sales reps table. So you have to keep in mind while copying data from one table to another table is that the first column name of the table, okay, that should match, the data type should match. It is not mandatory that the column name has to match. See, here in the sales reps table, the column name is ID, but in the employees table, the column name is employee ID. Still the data got inserted. So which means the query engine first executes this inner query, takes the data, and then transfers the data from this column of this table to this column of this table, and so on. Right? So what happens? That from the it first executes the inner query, takes all the 33 records, and one by one it inserts the record of the employee ID column of the employees table to the ID column of the sales reps table, last name column of the employees table, means from last name column of the employees table to name column of the sales reps table. Correct? So while copying the data, you do not need to put any values clause. Only you need to put that in which column the data will be copied. But you have to keep in mind, rather being the fact that the column names of the source table is employee, because from employees table the data is being copied and the destination is sales reps, because you are copying the data to sales reps table. So remember one thing, whenever such copying is happening, despite being the fact that the column names will not match, but the data type of the column should match. That is, the data type of the ID column of the sales reps table should be equivalent to the data type of the employee ID column of the employees table. The data type of the name column of the sales reps table should be equivalent to the data type of the last name column of the employees table, and so on. Correct? So the data type of these two columns, the source and the destination columns, should match. Otherwise, it will throw error. Like, you put here select employee ID, but here you put as the first column you put as select salary, it will give error. Because employee ID data type is character and salary data type is number. Okay? So remember only this thing in mind. Now, there are some specific values which needs to be inserted in the table. Okay? So we will continue with that insert statement in our next vlog. So I hope that you will be liking this vlog and try to practice these statements one by one. And I hope that this will really help you in your future endeavors, in your future targets to learn SQL and to write your exams or to sit for interviews. Learners, today you have learned about the usage of insert DML statement, the various usages of insert DML statement in a SQL query, and what are their implications or results. I think that I have covered the most important topic today, because whoever is studying SQL for exams or preparing themselves for interviews or maybe doing jobs and thinking to learn SQL, this tutorial is going to help you a lot, because these statements are not going to leave you ever till you do a job. maybe into database programming field, or like as a database programmer, or maybe some other developers, may it be Java, may it be VB.NET, may it be any technology. These SQL concepts will not leave you ever. These are the most important part. So learn very, very sincerely. And the most important part is practice it at home. For more videos like this, for more learning like this, please do like, share, subscribe my channel. And also don't forget to comment if you have any kind of doubts. I will definitely try to clear all your doubts, and hit the bell icon. That is the most important part. Then you will get updates whenever the videos will be created and uploaded. And don't forget to check the description box, because there I have my contact number. If you have any doubts, you can directly call me and ask for any kind of clarifications that you need from that video. And also please do comment that how do you like the video, and any suggestions are always welcome, like how to create the video to make it more interactive, so that I can improve more and more. As of now, signing off from this vlog, and I hope that today learning the insert DML statement will help you a lot. And if any some small topic on insert DML statement is skipped out or missed, I will definitely cover it up in my next vlog. Till then, good night.